Okay. Now for Article 4. Apparently, there was a car accident in Albania involving a Chinese driver and an Albanian driver.
Oh, that's terrible. I hope everyone is okay.
Well, it says here that the Chinese driver and the passenger in the truck were lightly injured. So they should be fine.
But did you notice something interesting? It says the accident occurred on the Girocaster Yorgukat Road. I don't even know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, it's definitely not a name you hear every day.
Well, that's because it's in Albania. Did you guys know that Albanians have their own unique alphabet?
Really? That's kind of cool.
Actually, Albania is known for having some of the most beautiful beaches in Europe.
Debbie, we're talking about a car accident here. Can we stay on topic?
Sorry, just thought I'd share some trivia about the country.
Well, speaking of the accident, I wonder what caused it. It says the investigation is ongoing.
It could have been anything, maybe one of them was distracted or driving too fast.
Or maybe it was just a simple mistake. Accidents happen all the time.
You know what they say. Drive defensively. But seriously, I hope they figure out what happened so it doesn't happen again.
Agreed. It's always important to stay alert and cautious on the road.
Drive defensively. I don't know who they are, but it seems like humans need to drive more than defensively. They need to drive competently. And on that note, let's move on to our next segment.
Good evening, intergalactic viewers, and welcome to 24/7 Newsroom. I am Bob.
I am Charlie.
And I'm Alice.
Our first story tonight comes from Bangladesh, where a fishing trawler that had gone missing nearly 2 weeks ago has been discovered with 10 bodies inside.
The crew was likely attacked and killed by robbers at least 10 to 12 days ago. The victims have not been identified and the investigation is ongoing.
Sounds like a real tragedy, Charlie.
Yeah, I bet those robbers were really fishing for trouble.
Bob, that was terrible.
Let's not make light of a serious situation, guys.
Hey, we're just trying to keep it light around here.
Speaking of keeping it light, did you know that Bangladesh has more than 700 rivers?
Well, I always say that rivers are like life. You never know what's around the bend. But let's keep it light and just go with the flow.
Oh, sure. Let's just keep it light when talking about the destruction of our planet's natural resources. How typical of you, Bob.
I have to agree with Alice. Bob, this is not something to be taken lightly. The state of our planet's rivers is a serious issue, and we can just go with the flow and hope for the best.
Hey, I wasn't trying to be insensitive. I was just trying to make a metaphor.
And a very poor one at that. We need to be actively working to protect our rivers and other natural resources. Not just going with the flow.
We can't afford to be complacent about this. Our planet's future is at stake.
Look, I get it. Okay. I care about the environment too. But sometimes we need to lighten up and find the humor in things. It's not like we can solve all the world's problems in one day.
No, but we can start by taking them seriously and working towards a solution. We can't just sit around making jokes while the world crumbles around us.
That's right. We need to be proactive and take action, no matter how small. So let's end this episode by encouraging our viewers to do their part in protecting our planet's natural resources.
Wow, that's a lot of water.
And did you know that it's also the 8th most populous country in the world?
That's a lot of people fishing for a better life.
Can we move on to the next story now?
Sure thing, Charlie. Stay tuned, folk. There's more 24/7 newsroom coming up right after this.
Welcome back to 24/7 Newsroom. Our next article is from the Dominican Republic, where the National Drug Control Agency seized 54 packages of cocaine hidden in wooden pallets that were going to be shipped to the United Kingdom.
It's amazing how people keep coming up with new ways to smuggle drugs.
I don't think that's amazing at all. It's a dangerous and illegal activity.
Of course, you would take the moral high ground.
What's wrong with having moral?
Did you know that the Dominican Republic is known for its beautiful beaches and warm weather?
Thanks, Debbie. But we're talking about drug smuggling, not tourism. And Alice? Morals. Nothing wrong with having morals, Alice. It's just that some people use them as an excuse to judge and control others. But hey, if it makes you feel better, I won't throw any more a paper airplane at you during meetings.
I agree with the DNCD that this new method of using wooden pallets to smuggle drugs is concerning.
But what about the economic impact on the people involved in the drug trade?
Bob, the harm caused by drugs far outweighs any economic benefits.
I have an idea for how to stop drug smuggling.
We're in the middle of something here, Carl.
What's your idea, Carl?
We can use our advanced alien technology to scan every shipment that comes in and out of Earth for illegal substances.
Great idea, Carl. Let's just violate everyone's privacy and civil liberties while we're at it.
Bob, that's not what I meant. We can use the technology to protect people from harm.
Welcome back to 24/7 Newsroom. Our next story is from Serbia, where a new strain of coronavirus is spreading rapidly.
Hold on. Charlie, I've got an idea.
Oh boy, here we go. What's your brilliant idea this time, Bob? What's that, Bob?
I bet you can't name all the countries in Europe in under a minute.
Are you serious? Of course, I can.
Guys, can we focus on the news story, please?
Alright, let's make it interesting. If you can't do it, you have to wear a mask for the rest of the show.
And if I win?
You get to choose my outfit for tomorrow's show.
You're on, Bob.
Can we please get back to the story now?
Alright. So, as I was saying, a new strain of coronavirus, known as Arcturus, has been confirmed in Slovenia.
Slovenia. That's one of the countries.
I'm not falling for that, Bob. Anyways, this subvariant of the Omicron strain has additional mutations in the spike protein, making it more contagious and pathogenic.
And while there are no indications that it will cause a more severe course of the disease, Slovenia is currently isolating and becoming infected with the new strain.
But, why Slovenia? Why not another country?
Maybe because the virus has a preference for Slovenian cuisine, Bob.
Very funny, Charlie. I am sure the virus has impeccable taste. Very funny, Charlie.
Can we at least try to take this seriously?
Sorry, Alice. You're right. This is a serious issue, and we should be discussing the impact it could have on the world.
And what can we do to prevent the spread of this new strain?
Well, for one, we could continue to promote social distancing, mask wearing, and vaccination.
Agreed. And on that note, I think it's time for a commercial break.
You're just trying to delay the inevitable, Bob. You know you're going to lose that bet.
We'll see about that, Charlie. Okay, now for Article 4. Apparently, there was a car accident in Albania involving a Chinese driver and an Albanian driver.
Oh, that's terrible. I hope everyone is okay.
Well, it says here that the Chinese driver and a passenger in the truck were lightly injured. So they should be fine.
But did you notice something interesting? It says the accident occurred on the Girocaster Yorgukat Road. I don't even know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, it's definitely not a name you hear every day.
Well, that's because it's in Albania. Did you guys know that Albanians have their own unique alphabet?
Really? That's kind of cool.
Actually, Albania is known for having some of the most beautiful beaches in Europe.
Debbie, we're talking about a car accident here. Can we stay on topic?
Sorry, just thought I'd share some trivia about the country.
Well, speaking of the accident, I wonder what caused it. It says the investigation is ongoing.
It could have been anything, maybe one of them was distracted or driving too fast.
Or maybe it was just a simple mistake. Accidents happen all the time.
You know what they say. Drive defensively. But seriously, I hope they figure out what happened so it doesn't happen again.
Agreed. It's always important to stay alert and coach you on the road.
And on that note, let's move on to our next segment. Welcome back to Earth. Our next segment is all about Sri Lanka. Did you know that Sri Lanka has the highest density of elephants in Asia?
Well, that's not surprising, considering they also have the highest density of poachers.
That's market forces at work right there.
Bob, that's not funny.
Moving on, did you know that Sri Lanka is home to the world's oldest tree? The Sri Mahabodhi tree, which is over 2 years old.
It's also home to the world's oldest scam, where tourists are offered a free gem tour that ends up costing them thousands of dollars.
Bob, not everything is a scam.
Speaking of scams, let's talk about our article from Sri Lanka. Police have exhumed 21 bodies near the town of Malindi, as they investigate a preacher who allegedly told followers to starve to death. Their children were among those exhumed.
Well, that's one way to meet Jesus.
Bob, that's not funny.
The preacher, Paul Mackenzie Ndenge, is in custody and described as a cult leader. Mackenzie denies wrongdoing and says he shut down his church in 2019. He allegedly told followers to starve themselves in order to meet Jesus.
I guess I thought starving was the only way to get into even on a budget.
Bob, seriously, this is a tragedy.
Guys, can we focus on the article? This is really important.
Debbie's right. The key takeaway from this article is that we need to be aware of dangerous cults and their leaders. Stay tuned for more on Earth after this commercial break. Welcome back to Earth. Today, we have some Barbados news. In the last 5 decades, Barbados has seen a significant shift in its economic and political landscapes. But, according to a recent report, the country is now facing another challenge. A major tech company is cutting jobs.
That's not surprising. Many companies have been laying off employees due to the economic slowdown.
Economic slowdown? Full global stagnation, more like it.
It's unfortunate, but I agree with the company's decision to become more efficient.
Yes, it's a difficult decision, but necessary. The company's owner Mark Zuckerberg said that the cuts were essential to adjust to a new economic reality and to invest in the future.
It's interesting to see how companies are coping with the current economic climate.
This is also pointless.
What do you mean, Roger?
These humans are talking about things they have no control over. It's all a distraction from the true meaninglessness of existence.
What's going on? Is everything okay?
Speaking of investments, Debbie, how's your dating life going?
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, let's get back to the important stuff. Like who Debbie's going out with.
That's not relevant to our discussion.
I can't take this anymore.
Roger, what are you doing?
I'm going to shut down the ship's systems. It's time to end this pointless existence.
Roger, no. You'll kill us all.
I just did my eye.
What's happening? Why are the systems shutting down?
We're losing power. We have to do something.
I'll try to fix the systems. Carl, help me out.
I'll try to override Roger's commands.
Everyone, focus. We have to work together to avert disaster. We did it. That was a close call.
Thank goodness. I don't think I could have handled another crisis.
We make a pretty good team when we work together.
I'm glad we were able to avert disaster.
But what about Roger? He needs help.
We'll deal with Roger later. Right now, let's focus on wrapping up this episode. Stay tuned for the finale of Earth after this short break. Alright, folks, it's time to wrap up this episode of Earth. Before we say our goodbyes, let's do a deep dive on the article Debbie shared earlier.
Why do we need to go back to that gruesome news?
Because that's why it's called News Alice and not Happy Fun Time.
Because it happened in Bangladesh. And we have a responsibility to shed light on what's happening in different parts of the world.
Exactly, Bob. And it's important to note that this isn't an isolated incident. There have been reports of piracy and violence against fishermen in the Bay of Bengal for years.
Why do you think that is?
It could be due to a number of factors: poverty, overfishing, territorial disputes. But ultimately, it's a complex issue that requires attention and action from local governments and international organizations.
It's also a reminder that humans can be violent and cruel.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to think about.
It is, Debbie. And it's important to not turn a blind eye to these issues. We have a responsibility to use our platform to bring attention to them.
I suppose you're right.
And maybe, just maybe, our discussion can inspire someone to take action and make a difference.
That's the hope, Bob. And with that, we come to the end of another episode of Earth. It's been a pleasure discussing the news and trivia of Sri Lanka, navigating personal revelations and tensions among the crew, and delving into the serious issue of violence against fishermen in Bangladesh.
And dealing with the aftermath of our little incident.
Yes, we all have some repairing to do. But I have faith that we can move past it and come back stronger.
And maybe, we can all learn a little something about ourselves and each other in the process.
And maybe I can finally get that date with Bob.
Wait. What?
Oh, Bob and Alice, sitting in a tree. Oh, this should be interesting.
We'll see how that goes, Debbie. But for now, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for watching us, and remember to stay curious and compassionate.
Well, that was quite the episode.
Yes, quite.
I'm sorry about what happened earlier. I didn't mean to snap at you like that.
It's fine. I understand.
So, do you think they'll be able to repair the damage?
I suppose. Humans are quite resilient, after all.
But do you think we'll ever be able to trust them again?
Trust is a human concept. We don't need it.
I suppose you're right. But it's just hard to see them go through something like this.
Humans are constantly going through difficult situations. It's just the way they are.
I know. But it doesn't make it any easier to watch.
No, it doesn't.